One of the things we get asked frequently here at ProfitBricks is what are good firewalls or threat management systems we can use on your system. One of the popular ones we recommend is Sophos. So in this video today, I'm going to walk you through downloading Sophos ISO and doing installation and deploying a Sophos UTM appliance on our network. So it's pretty straightforward, simple. I'm going to go pretty quickly through the video. Feel free to pause it and move around as you need to, but I figure this will be a good step-by-step video to help kind of get you started with this. So to begin, we're going to go to sophos.com, and it's pretty you just go to products, the unified threat management, and you'll see where it says free trial here. And as time changes, I'm sure their website will change, so you'll just look for where the download is for their UTM ISOs. And you'll want to download the latest edition. So here I'm going to go ahead and hit download now. And there's a link right here, download the ISOs. So we want the software appliance here. Actually, we're going to do, bear with me, the virtual appliance here with our, let's see here, which doesn't have the full ISO with the Linux distribution and everything set up on it. I would recommend the latest. There may be other reasons why you might not want the latest edition. You might have certain things that you're looking for. For this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and do the latest version. So we'll download that ISO and save it to desktop, save it where you can. In this instance, I've already downloaded it. So the next step is, once you have that ISO ready to go, you're going to go ahead and open a FTP client. I recommend FileZilla. It's pretty much available on all platforms, Mac OS, Linux, Windows, so forth. So once you get FileZilla, or whichever FTP client you're going to use, you can go to, for FileZilla, File, Site Manager, and under Site Manager you'll want to create a new site. The host for you to upload ISOs to ProfitBricks is upload.us.profitbricks.com. If you're outside the US and you're going to be using one of our German our centers, then you'll want to use upload.profitbricks.com. The username is going to be whatever your ProfitBricks login is. So in this instance, it's my email address, and whatever your ProfitBricks password is. Also, you'll be port 21, which is just a standard port. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to that server. What you'll see here is two different folders, hard drive images and ISO images. For this, we want to do an installation with this ISO, so we're going to go ahead and drop it to ISO images. And you would just drag and drop the ISO into this folder and let it upload to the server. And you'll see here we have ASG 9.201, which is the latest edition of Sophos UTM. Now that we have that uploaded, we're going to go ahead and log into our ProfitBricks dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and log into the account, and from there we'll go to the DCD. And while this is loading here, okay, now we're up. So now I'm in my DCD. I'm going to go ahead and first thing I'm going to do is check Manage Images and Snapshots. And you'll see the ISO we uploaded, the of Sophos, is in there. You can rename it. Just make sure that whatever you name it to, that it ends in .iso. That way the system can recognize it as an ISO. You don't need to worry about bootable or region or any of those things for this. So I'm just showing you that so you can see kind of what's available there. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this now that we know that ISO is there. And I'm going to go ahead and set up a new data center. So I'm going to create a new one called Sophos Tutorial Data Center. And we'll go ahead and do that in the US. You can also pick a German region. So from here, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say we don't have a network infrastructure, but you could have something where you had several servers. I'll go ahead and drag a couple of boxes down here. They're sitting on the network, and you want to put those behind a firewall. So in this situation, let's say you had both these connected to the internet, or you had it as a you had one of these connected directly and the other one through an internal network. In this situation, let's say you wanted to change these to where these two servers were set up on a internal network. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and create a Sophos UTM appliance. So what I'll do is I'll bring another server over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and name the server Sophos UTM server. I would recommend probably 2 cores and 2 gigs of RAM. You can go with 1 gig and 1 core and 1 gig of RAM. With the latest edition, it seems to work fine, but it just depends how you want to go about it. I'm going to leave live vertical scaling off for this one. You can enable it. There's a script you need to run on the server itself, but for this one, we'll just go ahead and set up the deployment this way. Networking, I haven't created any attached network cards yet, so I'm going to go ahead and attach the Sophos unit to the internet. And then for these servers here, what I'm going to do is attach these to a separate network interface. And then I'm going to attach the second server. And I'm going to make sure, there's one critical thing here. Make sure you attach these 2 servers to the same network interface on the Sophos appliance. What that's going to do is keep them on the same subnet. And that will be useful for many reasons, but if you want to make sure those servers can communicate on an internal network, you want to do it that way, so you won't have to do bridging or NAT. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is set up this Sophos appliance. Now we've got those in there. We can see our NICs. I'm going to go ahead and name the network interface, and I would recommend doing this too. I'm going to go ahead and name this ETH0 and ETH0. When we deploy it, these will be assigned. You can set a static IP if you want to request a group of static IPs. For this instance, I'm going to let it do it dynamic. Storages, this is where it's important to understand. So we have a storage here, which is the hard drive storage, but we want to make sure, since we're not going to use one of the default images. Usually what you can do is when you do a deployment, you can upload images, or you can use ProfitBricks images. In this instance, since we're doing our own custom ISO that we're deploying, we're not going to do this. We're going to leave that one blank. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a CD DVD ROM drive here. And what we're going to do is select My Own Images and select the Sophos ISO. And we're going to make sure that this is set as the boot device. We do not want the storage, the virtual storage, as a boot device yet. Now, once we get done doing the installation, we're going to switch back over and delete the ISO and the virtual drive and set it to boot from the storage. But for the installation, we need to make sure it's booting from the ISO. And to kind of give you an idea of the network infrastructure, I'm going to go ahead and deploy 2 Windows boxes here. So what I'll do is I'm just going to set these up as a Windows Server 1. I'll do 2 cores, 2 gigs of RAM. Windows needs a little bit more resources. And networking, name this ETH0. Storages were set up. We're not, since we're not booting off ISO, we're going to go ahead and use an image. What we'll do is we'll go down here to click on the storage for that device and select a ProfitBricks default image. I'm going to go ahead and select server 2012 for this one. And same thing for this. What we'll do, go ahead and change this to a dual core 2 gig of RAM. We're going to select the operating system. That's critical here, whether you're doing Linux, Windows, so forth. For this one, we're going to be doing Windows. And then again, networking. I'm going to go ahead and name this network card ETH0. Just make it a little bit easier later on when we're going through and signing things or deck things, which one is which. And then storages, again, we're not going to do anything on this end since we're not creating a virtual drive. We're going to go ahead and select the storage and select, and I'll do this one as a server 2008, just so we have two different boxes on there. So now we have a very basic infrastructure. We have a public access to the internet, going through a Sophos Unified Threat Management System, which firewall, VPN, a whole series of tools within the Sophos UTM. Then with two Windows servers connected to the Sophos through a internal network, internal LAN, as we would say. And so we have, I'm going to go ahead and name this one, rename this one Windows Server 2, just so it make it a little bit easier. Now once all this is done, you can hit Provision Data Center or Unapplied Changes, which will go ahead and update all the settings and deploy the system. I'm going to let this run for a little bit, and once this finishes deploying, we will start on the second part of the video.